I want to talk about some of the benefits of providing clean, safe, sustainable, lowering risk of infection, lowering carbon footprint, and improving quality and safety is very, very important. Also, I'd like to talk about plumbed-in water dispensers. So in my presentation today, I don't talk about any water dispensers which are fed with a bottle. I speak only about water dispensers which are fed from the plumbed-in water system. And this is our key way of reducing single-use plastics in healthcare. So you have probably already heard today, waterborne pathogens. So there's often microorganisms in water, bacteria, Legionella. Certainly in the UK, we have a lot of Legionella in our pipework in hospitals. And anywhere where water is stored can be an opportunity for bacteria to grow. So we were approached a few years ago through healthcare in the UK as a water dispenser manufacturer in the UK. So we design and assemble our products in the UK, and we source the components in Europe about providing safe, clean drinking water to hospitals through plumbed-in water systems. So we were set the task of coming up with a safe way of doing this, and we introduced this product called the E6, and I will now talk through some of the problems that were there and how we've tried to overcome them. So typically, in a water dispenser, the chilled water is chilled in a tank. So there's a tank of many litres of water, 3, 4, 5, 6 litres of water, which is then chilled down, and so this is a stored water source. And when it comes to cleaning such, you have to take the top off, empty the unit out, and clean it. So one of the first things we came up with was a solution called dry chill. So there is no stored water for chilling. We have a solid aluminium block, as you can see on the right of the screen, the little diagram, and then we chill the water instantly as the water comes through. So as you dispense, water comes through a coil, is chilled, and out to the glass. So that's the number one. Eliminate the stored water within the drinking water system. The next one was remove any dead legs. I hope that translates somehow. So this is essentially saying no dead ends in a water plumbing system. No little areas or laybys where water can sit or get caught. So for us, it's really, really important to have a single water pathway from water source to glass. So that includes any of the plumbing fittings, ensuring that there is no not excess fittings, and there is also no kind of complicated areas where water can get into, ensuring that the water pathway is as short as possible and is as clear as possible. Our next thing was obviously touch transmission. A key way for infections to be spread when using such things as drinking water dispensers and dispensing water is touch. So for us, when we started out on our design, it was first ensure the water pathway is clear and simple, then ensure that the product is clean and minimalist and can easily be cleaned. So if something can be cleaned easily on a daily basis, or whatever the cycle you decide, then it's more likely to actually happen. If it's complicated, often it doesn't happen, and that's when there is an opportunity for build-up. So what we've done is we introduced such things as antimicrobial elements into the materials, so into the ABS plastics and also into the touch area, and ensuring that is very easily wiped clean, because we all know we can put as much antimicrobial silver ions into product as we like, but nothing beats something being properly cleaned every day. And if that's a smooth, non-porous finish, so it's harder for bacteria to adhere, then there is a lot higher likelihood that when you give it a good clean, it will be clean. And obviously another thing, you can see the little shiny lights down on the screen there. This is something else we patented, and that is actually a light beam that shines onto the floor. And if you put your foot on the light, it will dispense the water. You don't need to touch the product when you're dispensing. And I'll jump onto a picture of the product and you'll be able to see that very quickly. Another thing then dealing with the Legionella and bacteria that could be present in the water systems around the hospitals. So we came up with a number of solutions there. Firstly, we worked with 3M on the filtration incoming. And that's really, really important. And I'll speak about that on the next slide. And we also introduced some of the UV technologies, which are becoming very advanced nowadays and have been certified to a high NSF standard and proven to be effective. So we used a kind of a three-pronged filtration approach, which I'll try and explain to you. So standard filtration on water dispensers is typically carbon block, which does reduce, obviously, sediment and some bacteria down to up to log 4. So with 3M, we worked with them for a multi-stage system. There's 5 stages shown on the diagram there. But what they came up with was a carbonless water filter for drinking water systems. So what this does is it retains the chlorine in the water. You can't taste it, but it also, just as another extra little step in retaining some of the disinfectants that are there in the system. And that's been tested now to the NSF standards and has been found to have a log 6 reduction in bacteria. So the way we approached this was, from a filtration perspective, was let's not let bacteria get into the product. Number one thing, prevention, not cure. So for us, the first line of defence when the water comes into the product is put on a 3M carbonless filter, log 6 reduction, and that's a 0.2 micron. It's a very neat technology. It doesn't stop the water flow because the media is progressive. It gets smaller and smaller, taking everything out down to 0.2 micron, pharmaceutical grade. And that's been tested with 3M and has been used really successfully on several sites in the UK for us. And then, of course, once the water's been through that system, through that filter, to 0.2 micron, log 6 reduction, bring that straight up through an inline UV system. So we use an LED UV system, either a Cuva or Claren, now Water Sprint. So they're NSF approved products that have been tried and tested and shown to work and reduce. So it's a second layer. Then obviously the water's coming up through the coil to be chilled. Then we have a further stage after that on the outlet, which I hope you'll all recognise. We've partnered with T-Safe, which you've had a presentation on today. So on the outlet of the water dispenser as well, here's kind of our third level of filtration, essentially, on a water pathway for drinking water. We've found this to be really successful for us because it's a very simple water pathway through the product, and we're going through multiple filters. We're still getting very, very good flow rates. So there's no slowing down when filling up multiple jugs or bottles of water for patients. I don't think I need to talk to you too much more about T-Safe, other than we made an adaptation, so it's a retrofittable product that can be fitted onto Borg Overstrom water dispensers, and is available now for this market. We have done some independent testing and case studies, and I want to talk about that just briefly. So we were first working with King's College Hospital in London. They were the ones that came to us and said, we're taking out all the water dispensers, there's Legionella being dispensed through them, we need a solution, what can you do? So they were the first ones to come to us, and you can see the little icicle icon on the floor in front of the product. That's where you put your foot, and it will break a little light beam, and the water will dispense. This is a single water pathway on this product. We don't have the T-Safe in King's College, But what we do have is the carbonless filtration and the UV filtration, and then the dry chill technology. They have a really good cleaning regime. So there's a daily wipe down of product. The nozzle you can see there where the water is dispensed, that is a stainless steel, removable, can be put through the dishwasher, replaced very easily. And we've had some really, really good success there. Another one, to touch more on the sustainable side. So of course, using a plumbed in water system, we're not lugging around large bottles of water, putting them on the water dispensers. And obviously those have to be stored somewhere, the big bottles, if you're using those, which could be in a warm environment, where ultimately there could be something starting to build up in them. So we did some independent case studies, and what's important to note is eco mode is great in some environments and not in others. If you've got a traditional reservoir tank water cooler which has eco mode and it goes off at night to save energy, that water is essentially just heating up in the tank. So when there is no water stored in a product like our dry chill, if there's no water stored in the aluminium block, it's chilled instantly as you dispense. This is where eco mode does work very effectively. So we've been working with Roehampton University in London, where we did some independent testing. Well, they've done the testing on the products, and they were testing it against another traditional one of our products, and there was enormous energy savings over a time period. And of course, this is just another excellent side effect from introducing, modern technology into water coolers. Again, we've been using EnviroCloud, a water treatment company in the UK, to do water testing on our products. So where these products have been installed in Coventry, Rugby and Cheshire, and we tested those products over 7 months. So what they've been doing is taking a water sample before the water comes into the unit, a water sample after the filtration, first level of filtration, and then a water sample at the end, so what's dispensed. And even with Legionella present in the plumbing systems in the water, in the hospital, and Legionella's getting to the product, the filtration, the UV, has been able to cut that Legionella out, and we've had clean water tests over 7 months from the dispenser, which for us was an absolute win, and also for us, our solution to be able to provide safe, clean drinking water in hospitals. I think that is now the end. I'll skip over the NHS one. Our local distributor for product like this is Alcora. But yeah, I'll be happy to take any questions people have got. I've skipped through fairly, so any questions?